Welcome back to Switched to Linux. Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about installing Pipewire on Debian. Now, this build here is my Linux Mint Debian Edition 5, which is based on Debian Bullseye, aka Debian 11. Pipewire itself is an application that is designed mostly to replace Pulse Audio, because a lot of people say Pulse Audio basically is the bane of Linux. I personally have very few problems with it. The latest iteration of Linux Mint does seem to have a few issues with Pulse Audio, but other than that, I have not personally had too many issues. However, with the migration of Wayland and the heavy use of Flatpaks, Pulse Audio is starting to have a few bugs with the way that those are implemented, and so it's possible to have a few issues. So Pipewire is coming out as a replacement for Pulse Audio. Now, if you follow the Ubuntu news, then the next edition of Ubuntu 22.10 is going to include Pipewire by default instead of using Pulse Audio. Very simply, to get the bugs out. This is common for Ubuntu. They first put Wayland by default onto a .10 edition. This is what they tend to do to make sure they're not muddling up the LTS systems with a buggy or a weird implementation. So Pipewire is coming down the pipeline. A lot of people have been talking about it. Let's talk about installing Pipewire on Debian. So first, let me just go ahead and prove to you that we are on Debian Bullseye. We're going to go to etc apt sources.list.d, and let's go ahead and nano into the official package repository. So you can see here that we are on Bullseye Debian. So there we have it. So let's go ahead and look at our next step. So what we're going to do here with Pipewire is, for Debian, we have the ability to replace it for Pulse Audio, for ALSA, for Jack, or for Bluetooth. All right, so if we just click on down here to Pulse Audio, it's giving us a few instructions. Now, if you are unfamiliar with what the commands are doing, then make sure that you are either at a trusted source or spend the time to figure out what they're doing. Since we are on the wiki.debian.org/Pipewire official Debian wiki website, you can assume whatever is listed here is going to be safe. Of course, follow any warnings that they give you here. All right, but what we're going to do is we are going to replace Pulse Audio with Pipewire. So before we do anything, let's go ahead and check, make sure that we are, whoa, that's not the command that I want. Copy you. And paste. There we are. That's what I wanted. So this is just telling us what our audio controller is, and it's telling us it is at Pulse Audio. So that's good. All right, so the first step that we are going to need to do is we need to actually install Pipewire. So we're going to do a sudo, if I can type right, sudo apt install Pipewire. And it's going to ask us if we would like to install libpipewire, etc., etc. So yes, we're going to go ahead and do that. It's going to go ahead and grab the Pipewire applications and the dependencies. Now we have Pipewire installed. All right, so with Pipewire installed, it should have created the etc media sessions.d. It may or may not have added this with Pulse Audio. So the first command is telling us to touch, which means to create the file if it's not there. Basically, it's, hey, make sure this thing exists. That's what the command's going to do. Now, we do want to be in root when we do this. We are not, so I'm going to do sudo su to drop into root. And let's go ahead and go back to our root directory as well, just for the sake of making sure that we're all consistent all throughout. So we're going to go ahead and touch that. So hopefully the installation of Pipewire has created that. If it hasn't, we'll just manually create these directories. But there we have it. Now we have touched this. Now what we're going to do is the installing Pipewire is going to put some systemd user examples into our document folders with some examples. We're going to copy those into the systemd user folder utilizing this command. So cp is going to copy from the first directory to the second directory. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So that has went ahead and did that. Now it wants us to run these 3 commands not as root, but as the regular user. Now, if you want to use this as root for everything, you can run some commands as root, but let's go ahead and hit exit. This drops us back down to our user, and let's go ahead and go back to our root domain as well. So we're going to check for new service files. So system control is, this is basically running all the services on your system. And it's going to reload everything that we have. So we're going to disable and stop the pulse audio service. Okay, so system control for this user is going to disable the pulse audio service. So this will basically shut down our audio. Notice, if you notice really quick, back up in the video if you need to, my audio has disappeared. No! Let's go ahead and pull up our system monitor as well. And let's search, see if pulse audio is in here. And you can see it is not. No, we have killed pulse audio. We have no... Some people would say we've killed pulse audio. Yes! Some people would say that. But verification, pulse audio is gone. That's what that command did. And that will also prevent it from starting up. Now we're going to enable the Pipewire pulse system. And we're going to go ahead and do that. It's going to create their services. And look at that. Our volume is back. Woohoo! That's exciting. So now let's go ahead and run the command we started with again. And this is telling us pulse audio on Pipewire. So now we're using pulse audio, but now everything's being piped through Pipewire instead. Now, if you want to make sure that it continues to run on a reboot, you can go ahead and mask pulse audio. So that way it won't go ahead and try and re-add the pulse audio service. So now on a reboot, hopefully we will still have Pipewire. Should we go ahead and try that? This is the one step I have not tried. Let's go ahead. Before we do that, we're going to go ahead and test this out. So I went over to my travel channel YouTube at Tux Traveler. YouTube.com/Tux Traveler, and I just went over and just grabbed the video. Hey, here you go, making cooking your van. Oh boy, look at this, an ad that I don't get any paid for because I do not have enough subscribers or view counts on that particular thing yet. But here we are, and let me go ahead and there we are. Look at that. I'm making cookies from scratch in a van. That's awesome. All right, so we're going to go ahead and turn our audio off just to show you guys the end product here. Oh, look at these. Look at these. And then I even came over and did some stuff in the solar oven too. Baking cookies in a solar oven. Why not? Anyway, back to the video at hand. Let's go ahead and reboot the system and make sure that we are still running. Make sure we're still running our pulse audio there. So let's go ahead and just reboot the system in the terminal. Go ahead and reboot this guy and see what we get. All right, so audio is actually working. We can confirm that over here. Let's have a look at our sound settings. Okay, that looks good. Let's open up a terminal. So you can see that we're still running pulse audio on top of Pipewire. So Pipewire is still working. We did confirm that audio is working there. And let's see, do we have Pipewire, Pipewire pulse, Pipewire media session is what's running, and no pulse audio. So now we have converted this Debian system to using Pipewire. Hopefully that will help you out in the event you'd like to test this out. As far as compatibility, check the Debian documentation. This is going to work on Debian, any distribution that is based on Debian, like LMDE. That's what this is. MX Linux, this should work just fine, although anymore it might, MX Linux is so good it might actually have the option to do that easier. But this is the nice, easy commands. So anyway, let me know if this helped you in the comments down below. What other tips and tricks would you like to see on Linux, Debian, maybe Arch or whatever else? Let me know all that in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.